Kendopolis, this is Dr. Kendo, and we're here with another Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor commentary. This is where I create your favorite characters in the Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor. It's only a feature on the Wii U and PC versions of this game. We are going to go ahead and open up the Object Editor right now and start off with the source object of a phantom today. And of course, we create whatever is most popular, most requested here in the comments section by you guys. I have no idea what that intro was all about. I'm just a little bit hyper. Okay, so just a little bit. With this Phantom, it's kind of, I guess, it's funny because we're creating a character called Phantom. Now, this comes from the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle game. Of course, we created the Mario versions of the Rabbid characters last week, and you guys in overwhelming numbers wanted to see some bosses in this game, and Phantom by far, or Tom Fan, was by far the choice for you guys. So we got a sphere right now. Notice that, of course, we took off the head and the arms and all that stuff for the Phantom, but this sphere is kind of going to make up most of the body, at least the lower body of the Phantom right here. We'll just be calling him the Phantom instead of Tom Fan. Either one could work, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Now we got Lace right now. If you type in Lace, that's L-A-C-E, of course. We're going into this color pattern or texture pattern library after you click that paintbrush icon down in the bottom middle. And notice that I grabbed this little kind of grid shape. It almost looks Minecraft-y a little bit. I grabbed this kind of like grid texture. Not grid, I should say like pixel texture right here. That's mostly, it's not to look pixely or anything like that, but it's mostly to just get some kind of texture design on this layer of lace that is actually going to be beneath this walrus body. So of course we've got another texture color pattern and stuff on the Phantom's body, as well as this walrus body. So both of those are going to make this kind of overcoat that the Phantom character has. And then he's also got the scarf, kerchief type thing that he's wearing right here is a seal body is what we took. So seal, S-E-A-L, of course. A grenadier, you can also pronounce that grenadier, I believe, and take the fish, of course, because that comes up with several different options. This top fin, it's the dorsal fin of that grenadier. We can take the fin right there to make the rest of the outfit, kind of the pieces coming down from that scarf. And so next we'll type in a ghost, and I can take this back arm of the ghost if I basically just put my cursor, if you're on the PC version, if you're on Steam, or if you're on Wii U, you can just kind of tap right there where the back arm of the ghost should be. You can see it peeking out just a little bit, and that'll grab the arm, and we can actually make that be a little boo-like tail and whatnot for the Phantom character. But here I've got a gnome. We took the back arm of the gnome, and that's going to start off the arms of the Phantom, and I'm going to go with Kraken. This Kraken piece will actually be before we finish off the little overcoat that he's got, his fancy opera clothes. Notice that, of course, this Kraken piece was just before the very end of the tentacle, so you're kind of grabbing any of the tentacle pieces that are, again, just before the very end point. So it's just before that. You can see it. It's got a little hook type shape almost, and tofu we can actually also use. All of that is attached to the body, whereas, of course, the gnome's arm is attached to where the arms should be for the Phantom character. And so the tofu is these two collar pieces right there up at the top of the clothing. And we'll go with a mitten now that we've kind of moved the gnome arm forward and everything for the Phantom's arm to be forward. I did have it moved sort of out of the way so that we could edit everything freely, and that's of course involving turning on the green grids. You can turn on these grids in Scribblenauts Unlimited that show where you can kind of attach all of your various pieces of your character and all the moving parts of it. All the limbs usually are segmented out by those green grids, and so that was actually what I did, was I moved the arm grids far aside in either direction. Now if you want to include the phonograph, you could definitely do that. You could even just type in phonograph. You don't always type in the exact object to get the exact stamp of what you're looking for. So for instance, when I've created teeth in so many different ways in this series, and hands in so many different ways. So for instance, one example was using a croissant as teeth. And again, you can do so many different stamps for so many different things. So the phonograph, by all means, I just did that as a simple stamp to get kind of one stamp that accomplished a lot of different design features. We're not going to make the transparent version just because in Scribblenauts Unlimited, there's not a particularly, I guess, easy way to convey transparency without actually adding an adjective after the fact, i.e. after your character has been created. Then you could type in, transparent, or you could start off with a wisp or a ghost or something that is more transparent as the source object if you wanted to. But I think this is a good design. The Phantom or Tom Fan is not always transparent looking. But anyway, we're at the properties editor where you can edit health and all sorts of other things about your object, and this is where I like to read background information and fun facts about the the things that we create in this series. So, of course, let's go ahead and talk about Phantom. Of course, it's the Phantom of the Bwapra. I love that name. It's the song by Tom Fan, or I suppose we should say Phantom, like Fan Tom, get it? Okay, I'm sure you guys do. Because we created this character as the Phantom, that's what we're calling him, and he's the end boss of Spooky Trails in the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle game. Last week, of course, we created the Rabbid versions of the Mario characters, as I said before, and you guys voted in overwhelming numbers to see Phantom. Interestingly enough, he's possibly the only Rabbid to communicate using actual normal sentences, one of the few at least, instead of the various grunts and screams, though his song does start out with several uses of the blah sound, just with a deeper voice. And as we demonstrated before, you can of course create him if you want with the phonograph inside of him, being that he can go kind of transparent, revealing it down in the lower part of his stomach. I just kind of finished off his coat and things with a yolk, that's of course Y-O-L-K from the yolk of an egg. And so we've got to create the head separately here because this game does have a stamp limit. Of course, if you're not familiar with Scribblenauts Unlimited, there is just a limit to how many pieces you can put down, like this golem thigh piece that we're going to use as the main shape of the head right now. That's one stamp, so you do have a limitation to how many you can use, and one way to get around that is just to create the head and the body separately. So we'll go with that same Kraken tentacle piece kind of near the end of the tentacle, but just one before it, and that'll start the hair off right here. And so it's looking good. He's kind of got this powdered wig hair type shape, so if you really wanted to kind of go base with this and have a lot more stamps to work with, again, I think it would be a very basic design. For instance, I'm using egg rolls as the curls, but you could just type in powdered wig and get something that it might work, but again, it would look to me, it would look a lot more basic, and it's not even really exactly like his hair would look like. It's a little bit more curly and stuff when you get the powdered wig from Scribblenauts Unlimited. Bunny ears, of course, we can use as the ears right now, and that's one stamp that can actually get us both of the ears, at least the outer part of the ears. We're gonna go with a beauty, the back arm of the beauty, and actually make that for the inner layer of the ears, and it has that kind of tannish red coloring to it, so that looks good. We put both of those up there, and I'll type in a hemisphere after this. In Scribblenauts Unlimited, you do have the leisure of kind of grabbing that from the geometry shapes library, but if you're in Scribblenauts Unmasked, of course, that's why I always type out these shapes names as much as I can nowadays, because you have to actually type them in if you're on Unmasked. We used P, of course, that's P-E-A. Why do I always spell that out? I'm sure people wonder. It's because I don't want it to be confused with urine or something. I mean, you guys could probably decipher that, but I know that somebody out there would make a crazy comment or something. I just feel that it's necessary. Tusk, of course, we take the bone. Tusk makes his nice, good old mustache, that fabulous mustache. Of course, he disses Mario's mustache in his song because he feels that he has the real mustache. Of course, the golem thigh piece, once again, that back thigh, we used for the mouth twice. There's two different colored layers right there. So the same thing that we used for his head shape, basically, we also used for the mouth down there. Another hemisphere can be for the tongue inside of those golem thigh pieces there, and marshmallow we can do twice, and that'll be for the teeth. Of course, paint them all the way white, and a wart is what we can use for the pupil, and a pimple can be actually our stamp limit gets reached when we do the second pimple right here, if you're going by my design, but those pimples are painted all the way white for some shimmer and shine in the eyes right there. I love doing that on most of my characters, as you guys know. A lot of artists do it when they're drawing and painting and stuff like that. It's just, I think it creates some extra detail that is nice to see. And so, of course, in the properties editor for a head object, you want to go to the equipment tab, check off this circle down kind of towards the bottom that says can be worn on the face like glasses, and that'll mostly put it where we want it to go when we actually try to attach the head to the body. So we'll do that right now by taking this phantom head. You can see that the body's flying around up there. We actually probably should increase the size of all this. I think this character needs to be bigger maybe in the future. I just put the head basically into the hands of the body object, and that's how they connect and attach to each other. It really looks close to where it should be. I mean, I'll do a little bit of editing. I'll go back into the object editor for the body object right here just to try to get it even a little bit more precise, but honestly, that could have worked. So, of course, turn on those green grids again. It's that Maxwell banana wheel dotted line icon there on the left side of the screen that you can probably see, and there's a big grid space for the head where the head is supposed to go. You can move that all around as you need to, and that'll kind kind of adjust where your head is gonna go for the body. And so really I just moved it down just a tiny bit. It again was pretty, well, it was pretty accurate how we had it. So let's see what happens. I think this is the moment that people are waiting for. We're gonna put down our Mario Rabbid, or Rabbid Mario, I guess. And again, I think we need to make Phantom a bit bigger. And that's something that you actually, if you are gonna increase its size in the object editor, you would have to increase the body and then try to remember how many ticks you did, I guess, to increase its size. We are having them fight right now. It actually looks like the, dang, the Rabbid Mario's head, it just completely shot its own head off because that bazooka that it had in its hands had a huge blast radius, and Phantom comes out on top, as it probably would if it was soloing against another character like this. But yeah, if you are increasing the size or anything within the object editor, I'm going to tell you another way to do it, of course, but in the object editor, holy god, that just killed me too. I need to get away from this fray, and we got Rabbid Peach not doing anything right now. And so Mario, it looks like Rabbid Mario did do a lot of the damage. Peach, for some reason, the script is not working. I normally have a script that says whenever the characters are losing or gaining health, they will then get the adjective brave. And so there we go. We just put it on ourselves. I'll need to check on Rabbid Peach. Maybe I didn't apply that, but I feel like we did. I'll have to reference last episode. But yeah, if you do increase the size of the body object, just remember how many ticks you did it to increase the size, and do the same to your head most of the time. Sometimes the head will increase at a more rapid rate than the body might. You know, it just depends on... You want to just basically make them the same size, of course, like same proportions, I should say. You can, though, the other method would just be to apply the adjective big or large to your character, and that'll actually apply it to the head if you be sure, you know, by default it's checked off, but the head object will have a little box that says, you know, it inherits all of the connected objects adjectives. So if I might interject before we do create our next object, yes, we are creating something else. I wanted to tell you guys, of course, I had the Dr. Kendo September 11th project. We do this every year in September, kind of to take away a lot of negativity from 9/11, not to diminish it in any way, but to, I suppose, inject positivity and do some good in the world where such an evil atrocity was committed so many years ago on September 11th, 2001. You know that I give to charity every single year, so I'll give my channel earnings over to charity. I mentioned that we're going to be donating to the Houston Humane Society, and we are still going to do that, of course, but we actually, in that video that I released on September 11th this week, earlier on, I did tell you guys, you know, since then I had actually learned of another charitable effort that I wanted to give to, and I'm going to reveal that right here, right now, just real quick, you guys. It should take about a minute or two. We targeted, of course, Hurricane Harvey efforts and the animals, because I know that you know, most of the charities I've given to have been for the animals, for nature, and those related charities. And so there's a zoo that really, really needs our help, and especially after Hurricane Harvey, this zoo basically will not survive unless we give donations to it. You know, it's completely relying on patrons and donators and volunteers and all of that stuff. This zoo is called the Texas Zoo. So the Texas Zoo is located in Victoria, Texas, and that's one of the, you know, there's several towns aside from Houston. I'm not saying Houston wasn't hit bad. It was hit very, very bad, and the flooding was crazy, but the actual hurricane, you know, Hurricane Harvey ravaged towns like Rockport and Port Aransas in Victoria, and my wife actually grew up kind of going to the Texas Zoo. She lived decently close to it, and you know, schools take kids there, and the zoo was a really good source of kind of continuing education about animals, and we don't want to lose that. And I mean, nobody wants to lose a zoo, right? But argue the logistics about zoos in general, but this was a place where tigers and some pretty cool animals were actually in this zoo. I've been there about 2 or 3 times, and hopefully I can show some videos or pictures or something, but I really want to give half of our charity donation to this, maybe even more. I mean, they really need us, and so I've put the GoFundMe, not only that video that I did back on Monday earlier in the week, but also I'm gonna put it in the description of this video. Please just share this like crazy. You can see on the zoo's Facebook and Twitter pages and things like that, you can see that they're really in need, and they show videos of all of the damage that has happened. I mean, like, the water was up like almost 6 feet. They couldn't have any of the animals in there. They had to move all of the animals out. The only way that that zoo really kind of stays alive is by people coming to see it year by year, so zoo patrons and gift shop patrons. But right now they are inoperable. The zoo is just completely shut down, and they're in the process of trying to rebuild, but that's definitely an expensive venture. So this is really, it's for the animals, but it's for the kids. I mean, it's for the families. This this is for everybody, and I think that we really need to give to this cause. I don't mean to bum people out. I know it's a sad state of affairs when this is happening, but it's also in times like these that we can all come together and we'll give to a really good cause. And this is a cause that, you know, this is my wife's childhood. This is some experiences that I've had. This is experiences for a lot of kids in Texas, especially small town Texas. So this is, to me, very, very important. So I will be donating there right away. And it's in honor of you guys. So just keep watching me. You know, if you can't donate, just keep watching Dr. Kendo. That's gonna help. That's gonna throw in more towards the donation. And with that, let's go ahead and get on with the creations. Next up. So anyway, another just completely overwhelming response from you guys was that you wanted to see the clown, of course, Pennywise from It. Of course, the novel as well as the movie and TV series It. And so we've got a crazy clown that we're going to be making here. And again, this doesn't relate to Mario and Rabbids at all, but I used to do this. I think in the past of this series, we used to kind of mix and match. A lot of the times I don't like to mix two different franchises together or whatever in one episode because ranking in YouTube is a little bit better if I do it just segmented out. But notice that we started off with a jester as the source object. We use a hairnet for a lot of stuff. The skirt right there. Pom-pom was also on there a lot, and receiver gloves for the hands. We kept the jester's arms and legs. That was why it was a good source object to start out with. And lint for the puffy sleeves and all of that. We're already at the properties editor, so let's go ahead and read about this. Of course, Pennywise, the dancing clown, could also, of course, be known as It. And that probably clues you in that he's the title character of Stephen King's horror novel, It, from 1986, the year I was born. The character was also portrayed by Tim Curry, wonderful actor and voice actor, in the 1990 TV adaptation, and then by Bill Skarsgård in the 2017 movie, which is the design that we've gone with for today. Many fans and critics alike theorize that Pennywise was inspired by John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer who had an alter ego that he called Pogo the Clown, a neighborhood birthday party staple. But Stephen King himself actually said that the main influences for Pennywise were Bozo, a TV clown from the 1960s, Howdy Doody's mute partner Clarabelle, and lastly Ronald McDonald. I haven't seen any TV show of It, I haven't read the novel, and I don't think that I'm gonna see the movie. More power to you if you're gonna do it. Let me know what you think if you do go. I also should note one last thing as we're creating the head here with a golden egg as the main shape. I did actually have a Pandora station set while I was creating Pennywise here in Scribblenauts, and it's my Social Distortion punk playlist. Social D being my top #1 favorite band alongside Kiss. And so while I was creating Pennywise here in Scribblenauts, my Pandora station matched one of the songs up with none other than, you guessed it, the band called Pennywise. At that moment, I think I pretty much stopped listening and I was just like, holy crap, I'm gonna die. But alright, we got pom-poms as the hair on both sides, and cream we actually did for the top hair, and a road hump within a goldfish bottom fin piece. That'll create the eyes and the color within the eyes. Wart we can actually use again for the pupil. Now I'm making these pupils kind of go up and looking more at us rather than looking kind of ahead. So it's kind of like the clown's eyes are creepily looking right at us. And I'm going to type in a magic cane right here after I did that boomerang for the bottom lip piece. And dartfish, we can actually use the dorsal fin of the dartfish to be some more lip makeup right there, like lipstick, face paint. So then a seahorse, we'll use the back tail piece of the seahorse, the very last end tail piece. It's got a little curve in it, another hook-like shape, and that'll be for where the cheeks are, maybe just below the cheeks, kind of connecting the paint of that magic cane, sort of pointy face paint that goes above and below the eyes. That'll connect all of that. Grills, Grillz, we did for the teeth on both sides, as well as that grenadier, again, that fish. You can use actually the side fin kind of in the front to be those two front teeth, the buck teeth. You know, Pennywise, especially by this design, you can see him close up. He's got two bigger buck teeth in the front. And so, of course, just a reminder, under the equipment tab, can be worn on the face like glasses. That's what you'll set the head object as. So let's go ahead and attach the head to the body, and it looks like Pennywise, our crazy dancing clown, is, again, this is pretty close, but this one's a little bit more far off. So we'll go ahead and edit the body. This looks creepy as hell. I hope that you guys think that I did that justice. I'm freaked out by it, and Scribblenauts is, not exactly scary graphics or anything. It all looks pretty cartoony for the most most part. But here, of course, as we're editing the body object, remember you can turn on these green grids, so I'm going to move the head grid right here up and maybe a little bit to the right. I know that it was kind of back too far on our design just a second ago when we saw it on the level, so let's see if that did any better. Another script that we've used I'll actually show you in a bit, but one thing to demonstrate it, there it was. You actually noticed my avatar kind of freaked out. Well, now this little kid is scared. Basically, within, it's for the head object. We put a script on the head object itself, and so I'll show you it again, but it basically makes all of the characters in this game that are not Pennywise himself be afraid of Pennywise. It'll play an animation of being scared, and actually, if it's me, like, I can't move right now. I'm trying to move, and all that's happening is my avatar is just freaking out over and over and over again. So unless I move Pennywise away with the stylus, or if you're on PC, just click him and move him away. You know, it works with a man too right here. This man's actually, it's not doing it anymore. I wonder if only one person can be freaked out at the same time or what. But anyway, oh, nope, that doesn't, because I just got freaked out while this man was freaked out. But that's okay, so let's remove the head, and I'll show you when I go into the object editor from the head object right here. You can see that then we'll go down on the bottom right, basically, and click that icon, then scroll all the way down to scripting. And so you can see when this object moves near an object, play an animation, and that animation is scared, of course, for the trigger target. And then when I just have wait a set time, although it didn't really do what I wanted it to. We have it excluding evil because our Pennywise character in Scribblenauts, the kind of what objects react to it as, we set in the properties editor as a killer, you know, a murderer or a serial killer, and so evil is kind of the generic category that falls into. And when you do moves near an object, you can actually do a pretty big number, like I did 70 as the distance. Now the distance could even be like 100 or something like that. It just depends on how far away you want your characters to be and freak out. Now if you do want it to only do it once and scare the character only one time, you can do that by just checking off the box that says repeatable and making it not be repeatable. And so here we go. The moment people might have also been waiting for is having Phantom go up against Pennywise, and Phantom just completely wrecked him. We did actually make the Phantom's projectile just be a rocket. Of course, that's like a rocket launcher. That's not to say that he shoots out rockets. I don't mean that, but his effect is sort of like a rocket launcher push. You know, he shoots out that kind of wave attack. It's like an opera attack, you know, with his voice, and it has the effect of the rocket. It pushes back and kind of explodes like that, and so I thought that was a good projectile here. You can do a lot of different things, though, so by all means, customize it to your liking. But today's was a fun episode. I mean, I enjoy kind of fusing these two franchises into one episode. Again, the reason I don't normally do this is just because, first of all, I don't have a lot of time during the week, so that's one thing as well. But the main point that I reiterated before was that YouTube, I can rank the videos a little bit better, and YouTube will rank me in the algorithm more like how it should if I segment them out. Just have one episode dedicated to one thing, something like that. It all just depends. I will not bore you with that stuff. My baby's gonna be born in pretty much a month from now. That's baby Kendo. I will definitely update everybody, show pictures and video and all that stuff as baby Kendo is growing once he is born. But other than that, I love everybody. I will catch you guys on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
Down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives with the spectacle we give. I've been down the road